So first, I actually want to thank Grazian. And just for full transparency, I cannot actually see anything because of the lights. So I'm just somewhere guessing that he's here somewhere here. And just to give you actually a little bit of background is that yesterday I spoke with Lina when we were kind of walking around Timișoara, and I asked her, what do people expect from me in my talk? You know? So should I talk about the details of the blockchain? Like to give you the tutorial, or should I maybe like give you the vision? Like what's coming? And her reaction is very interesting. She said, just brainwash them. Now that's a very good answer because I'm very good at brainwashing people. So just so I'll try to give you the vision, what's the blockchain, and not so much go into details, and later after the conference we can talk about the details actually. So just kind of to make a very clear and very bold statement that the blockchain is the greatest discovery you're going to see in your lifetimes. And actually internet is paling into comparison how blockchain will change your society. Okay. Now to give like a frame of reference, what does that mean? If you think about the internet, it completely transformed how we exchange information, right? So what the blockchain will do, it will completely transform how we exchange assets, okay? So it's a kind of a platform for assets. Now if you think about, again, let's give the example with the internet. What the internet is, it's a global publishing platform, okay? So it's a platform, there's some infrastructure behind it, and you can publish there whatever you want. You can publish a blog, you can publish a website, you can have like a network of people there, you can have a marketplace on this platform, but it's just a publishing platform if you kind of think about it. Now what the blockchain is, it's a global database, a global platform where you publish assets. That's pretty much it. That's what the blockchain is like so it's a global database for assets, if you want to kind of like explain it in plain language. And it's very interesting that Susanna was talking. She said, Anton said that actually all of us will use the blockchain in like 10, 15 years, maybe even sooner, and nobody will know about it. So this is also a very provocative statement if you think about it. But I can ask you, how does the internet work? I send, I think, 50 emails, like in the last hours. But if you, okay, I'm not a good example, but if you ask people, everyone here, how does the internet work? When you send a message on WhatsApp, how does it work? I'm willing to bet money, unless you have, unless you have a PhD in computer science, you have no clue. But that's how it's supposed to be. Because there's an infrastructure that supports the internet and makes it work. Now, if you ask me how does it work, it's the so-called TCP/IP protocols. I think the computer science people know what I just said, but it's basically just something in the background that makes it work. Okay. So now you have to actually understand, tell you very honestly, is that we are just at the beginning with regards to development of the blockchain. Like imagine in '92, you're going around and you're telling people internet is the next great thing. In '92, I told Lina yesterday, I didn't believe it. UN published a report on internet. You know what it said in there? That the internet is only used by basically bad people. I don't want to say the exact words, but it was like, like shady people. Internet is used by shady people. And that was the reality actually. In '92, that was the reality. Internet was a shady thing used by bad people. But that was the early days, So now if you kind of ask me, okay, where are we? The interesting thing is that the insiders, so I'm like kind of the insiders, a lot of the insiders are just not aware of what the blockchain can bring. It's like just at the beginning, and they don't understand that actually this technology has to be embedded with something that exists in the real world. And that's the financial system. It has to be embedded there. So then that's why I hear a lot of discussions about, is the price of Bitcoin going up or down? Like it even matters. It doesn't matter actually at all. Now, if you kind of ask me, okay, but what about the people who kind of live in the real world? Like what about them? Do they get it? And the answer is that they're so busy trying to catch up with the technology, they don't see the vision. So actually you go and you talk to a bank and they will ask you, the blockchain is too slow. It cannot process 10 million transactions in a second. Now that's true, actually. But imagine in 92, you have an amazing vision. You say, I'm going to put one picture on my website, okay? And you do that, and you invite your friends. I tell to Lena, please go check my website, you know? And she clicks, you know, writes anton.com, clicks enter, and then she can take, you know, 2 coffee breaks because it takes like half an hour to download one picture, you know? Now, if you don't see the vision, you will come to me and say, this is a complete disaster. I just spent 30 minutes for me to get one picture, and it's a terrible picture, the quality is a disaster, this will never work. But imagine if you said, oh, we just need to speed up the technology. We need to just make it better. So I can put 10 pictures actually on a website. Oh, even better, I can put a movie on a website. Oh, I have an even better idea. I'm going to stream a video in real time to the whole internet. So this is what I'm talking about, seeing the vision, okay? Now, let's go back to the blockchain, okay? So I'm going to actually explain to you how I got involved into the blockchain because I think it's an amazing story. So 7 years ago, I started, you know, I wanted to join a hedge fund, and I joined Richard, you know, this Olsen Ltd that it was mentioned. I joined him for an internship, you know. The first day, there was a lunch break, you know, and I got my croissant and whatnot, I don't remember. I sat at the table, and I was like eating my croissant. And then the owner, Richard, he came to me, he sat next to me, and he said, Anton, we completely need to change the financial system. Completely. The settlement system doesn't work. It's all corrupted. The banks control everything. We completely have to change it. Now, I was thinking, what the hell is this guy talking about? Because I had no clue what he was talking about, and why is he talking to me? Because I was 23 years old, basically. But what I didn't get, that he was brainwashing me. So I understand that I'm a believer that we need to change the financial system. Okay, so from there, you know, when I was a bit older, I would go to, you know, top economists or to banks, to central banks, and I would tell them, we need to completely change the financial system. And they would look at me like, who's this funny guy, very young, you know, talking a lot of interesting things. Now, if you kind of fast forward a couple of years later, I was living in Geneva, and Richard called me. I remember because it was like a terrible day, rainy, nothing happening. He called me and says, Anton, all of the stuff that I have been terrorizing you for the last couple of years, and he was really terrorizing me with this all the time, telling me the story. He said, we can completely change it, and the funny thing is that the technology already exists. And then he mentioned to me the blockchain. Okay. So now you ask me, why would you want to change the financial system? Why would you want to change the infrastructure? So let's think of a spectrum, and let's sit here. And what is the current, how does the current financial infrastructure works? It's completely non-transparent. You have banks that control everything. There's a lot of costs for no reason. Everything is very slow. If you ever try to send money abroad, for instance, if you send money to yes, it takes 3 days. Why does it take 3 days when I send a message on WhatsApp in 1 millisecond? Okay? So if you ask me in technical term, how does it call? It means that the financial system is batch-based. It's a sequential machine, and it runs in daily cycles. In plain language, that means you just send instructions, they line up in a queue, and at the end of the day, you process them. Imagine, today, when you can send, you know, messages in a millisecond, they process everything at the end of the day. Okay? So now let's go on the other side here. What's here? So there you have complete non-transparency, banks control everything, there's a lot of costs, you know, your central authority, you know, have no clue what's going on. You come here and you say, let's do the complete opposite. There is no central point of authority, everything is distributed. It's a global database that anyone can access, and everybody can put anything on there. The costs are super low, everything is extremely fast, so I'm not wiring money in, you know, 5 days, but I'm doing it in a couple of minutes. And this is where I am. Now, what's interesting, I have just described the blockchain. So if you think about it, blockchain is just a super fast infrastructure for assets. And it's global, and you can, I don't know if you have ever seen the blockchain. Many times I ask people, have you actually seen the blockchain? And they tell me no. So later, if you want, just come to me and I will show you on my cell phone. We'll go and check the blockchain. How does it work? So really, the blockchain is just a global database for assets. Extremely fast one, great one, and amazing one. Now, what is Lykke trying to do? Okay? I have 5 minutes left. I can talk so much, so don't worry. So what does Lykke try to do, actually? So we want to take that thing there, this super slow financial system that you have no control, and actually take it and just put it on this infrastructure. This is really what Lykke does. If you ask me in technical terms, that means we are creating a global marketplace on top of the blockchain. Okay? So let's go back to the analogy of internet. You have the TCP IP protocols supporting a global publishing platform. You will have a blockchain supporting a global marketplace. So if you kind of ask me, is Lykke building the internet? And I will tell you, well, almost. We're building a browser. So we're not really building the internet because it's kind of like, internet is an emergent phenomenon. You cannot build it, actually. So it kind of has to be, brought and created by the community. But we want to build a browser. Because that browser was actually, if you actually go and read or ask people, browser was the success that made internet what it is today. So really, really, in plain language, what we're trying to do is create a browser for the global marketplace. What is a browser? It's basically a wallet. We are creating a wallet with which you will have your assets, okay? And those assets will be connected to the blockchain. And then, if you want to send an email, today you're on Gmail, you do it in like in a second, and it's free. If you think about it, you're sending emails for free. In the future, you're going to have a wallet. Hopefully, Lykke wallet will be the global one, like the browser, and then you will send your assets to your friends, to your family, to your colleagues, like you're sending email. That's actually the vision. This is what's going to happen. Now, if you ask me how, when, and how fast, and I will be very honest, it takes a lot of work. So people ask me how fast I'm going to use the blockchain. I want to, have this thing, and then I tell them very, very quickly, don't worry. It just takes a lot of work. So this is what Lykke is doing. So Lykke has, I told Lina, I'm very happy that Lina is not kind of joining us now, or I'm trying to brainwash you to join us. So there's 120 people working at Lykke. And we kind of, people ask, what do you do with 120 people? But I tell them, well, there's a lot of work. And all the things that you actually take for granted today, like really, if you take it for granted, we have to build that from scratch. So this is actually, what's happening with that. Now, I will try to kind of end on a very, very positive note, so everybody's happy, So, actually, many times people come to me and they come and ask me. Actually, they tell me, people tell me many times. They say, Anton, I'm too late. Everything is played out already, and it's over. Like the blockchain is here, everybody's talking about it. Then we have the CEOs of banks, arguing if it's a good or bad thing. So I'm too late. And I told them, no, you're definitely not too late. It's like in '92, the UN has published a shady report on this thing called the internet. We are in the equivalent state now of the blockchain. So it's used by shady people. This is the report. It's used by shady people, and it's not safe. We should not use it. So we are really at that stage, and whoever thinks that they have been kind of left out, that the party is over, I can tell you, we have actually just started. And to be very, very provocative, and anyone's filming or not, the greatest period in the blockchain development and implementation will be when the price of cryptocurrencies drops to zero. Because at that point, the dot-com bubble will pop, the crypto bubble will pop, and then it will say, okay, how can I actually now bring value to the people, and why should I actually use the blockchain? But as long as we're talking about is the price going up or down, it's just a bad environment. But the best environment is going to come when the bubble pops. So it still hasn't popped, meaning I still have to suffer, and people ask me, is the price going to go up or down, and I have to tell them I have to do the brainwashing to explain to them it's not important. So on a positive note, if you need to remember one thing, you will in many years you're going to tell your grandchildren, I was a part of the blockchain revolution, and there was this guy from Lykke telling me how it's amazing, and your kids will tell you, why are you annoying me with stuff that don't matter at all? It works. So why are you telling me this stuff?
but you will be able to say that there was a guy telling you all this stuff you weren't sure. So, thank you very much for your attention, and thanks Grazian for inviting me. I've seen that you're here. So thanks a lot.